See who's gonna get first on this fucking chat thing. I mean, we already know, kinda, but you know. All right. All right. Are you ready? Here's the link to YouTube. I'll see you guys there. Please mute yourself here. Oh my God. You guys can be too much at times. I love it. Test, test, test. 1, 2, 3. The time has come for all to see. I'm checking levels, so won't you please bear with me? Take back the light. Okay. Damn. Fucking loud. Yeah. See, Alan always shows up as first on my shit. I mean, you know. Don't hate the player, I guess. All right, so today is just a quick little review of Ableton. We went over the intro to Ableton on Monday, and there's a lot more details in that video, in those 2 videos, but I figured that because it's a new DAW, and because we spent so much time with Pro Tools already, I might as well just do a brief little intro again, but maybe make it a little bit more trimmed down, so it's a bit more of like an overview of the whole thing. Yeah, there's no salary attached. You know, that's why I said I wish I could like associate a prize with being first on YouTube, but the problem is that because of like different internet speeds, you never know who's gonna be first or. Well, okay, I guess Alan's already made his demands, so all you dealers out there, you know, there's your guy. So, first thing you want to do is when you open up Ableton, this is the opening screen. And like I said, by default, you have these 2 MIDI and 2 audio tracks set up. You also have a reverb and delay return, send and return setup, and a master track, right? Like I said, the cool thing about Ableton is that you don't have to create your buses and auxes if you want to set up a reverb and delay. It already links the 2 by using this knob as your send and this track as your return. Very efficient. And then again, if you want to create more, you can either right click and say insert a new return track, and then you can see that a new knob has popped up, C going to return C, and you can make this a flanger or a chorus or whatever. And yeah, you can keep going on and on and on. So anyway, that's the first thing to notice. We have a little browser on the left. We have a section at the bottom where you can put your plugins or see your clips. And then if you press the tab key, you can switch over to the arrangement view. Now the arrangement view is exactly like Pro Tools, Logic. It functions pretty much exactly the same way in terms of being able to record, edit, and yeah, arrange, basically. But what I wanted to show you is the way to use Ableton in a little bit more of a creative way. And again, if you're a producer, a DJ, electronic kind of guy, this is definitely the way you're going to use Ableton, in, at least from what I think. Especially if you're into doing live gigs and you need to be able to trigger samples or trigger loops whenever you want. Dude, this is the fucking way to do it. So, when you look at this, it does look like your mix window from Pro Tools, right? Because you see all these tracks, right? And you see you have sends over here, pan, mute, solo, record enable, right? You see all this stuff and you're like, oh, this looks exactly like my mix window. But the thing is that it's not your mix window, and that's because right up here are these little rectangular slots. And these rectangular slots are not for plugins. Remember, the plugins go down here. These slots are for loops or clips, specifically clips. They're called clip slots, right? So you might be wondering, well, what's a clip? Well, you can think of a clip as a segment of audio or a loop or a segment of MIDI or a loop of MIDI, something that you can trigger by clicking on the play button of the clip. So in order to explain this, I'm going to kind of run through one of the first assignments in Ableton called Ableton Session Setup. Now, in order to do this, you actually have to download either the hip hop samples folder, or I made it even easier for you guys. There's a hip hop loops and a Cosmic Loops zip file up there, which you can download. So I'm just going to show you that right now. So if you say boom, all right, you should be able to see my screen. So if you're in modules, there are two zip files over here that I want you to focus on, which is Cosmic Loops and Hip Hop Loops, right? So if you click on one of them, it says hiphoploops.zip. Now it says the document can't be processed, but that just means the zip file, then it can't really be viewed. But right over here, it says download hiphoploops.zip. You can click on this and it will download the zip file, right? Same thing with the other one, the Cosmic Loops one, right? So they're just a set of two folders with a bunch of loops in them. Okay, hold on. I want to make sure these two get in. Hey, Keisha and Evan, we are on YouTube. Link is in the chat. All right. So, you download those two folders, and they will show up in your Finder. All right, I gotta find mine. So I think mine is in a folder called Hip Hop Samples, right? So these are the two. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually drag these into my new section over here. So just gonna copy them. All right, so here you go. So you should have downloaded two zip files. One is called Hip Hop Loops, one's called Cosmic Loops. And I'm just gonna go ahead and double click them to unzip them. Remember, zip files are just packages or containers that you can put a bunch of stuff into.
Hello?
Oh, yes. Hey, what's up?
Where everybody at?
We're on YouTube. Link is in the chat.
Oh. Oh, we started early today.
Sure. If you call, yeah, yeah, sure. Okay. So
Go see the link. I got you on YouTube. I'm gonna go over there.
Sounds good. Jesus fucking Christ. Hold on. Let me let these fucking people in. Jesus fucking Christ. We gotta find a better system for this. Yo, link in the chat, man. We're on YouTube. Okay, so I unzipped the files, and they are now visible in my Finder, right? Now, if you open them up, you'll see a bunch of different instruments, and within that, there are loops, audio loops. So I'm going to go back to Ableton, and I'm going to go to my browser section over here, and I'm going to add folder, right? When I add folder, it allows me to choose a folder source from where I can start dragging in samples or loops or whatever I have that I want to add. Now, I saved mine right here. So I can click on this, hit open, and now you see that Cosmic Loops has been added to my list. Do it one more time, add folder, click on Hip Hop Loops, and now I have Hip Hop Loops and Cosmic Loops as two folders under my browser section from which I can choose whatever I want, right? Let me in the room. Okay. What the fuck? I'm not, Alan, I don't know why you need to be in Zoom. We're already on YouTube. It doesn't matter, dude. Okay. So now we got these two loops, loop folders, right? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to basically do the first assignment. So once you have these two in your browser, you can then go into any of these folders and choose a loop of your choice. Now, I'm just going to start with drums just because I feel like that's the way to, a good way to start. And these are all audio loops, right? You can see they're audio loops because it says .wave. If it says something like .adg or something like that, that's a virtual instrument file, and that's for when you want to use MIDI, all right? Now, the way this has been organized is that you see the tempo of the beat and then the name of it, right? So 76 is the tempo and then the name of the beat. So it doesn't matter what I choose. Whatever I choose, it's eventually going to get mapped to my session tempo. Well, we've already talked about this, but whenever Ableton brings in an audio file of any kind into the session, it analyzes it for warp markers and prepares it for speeding up and slowing down based on the session project. Link? Let me in the room, LOL, link. Not sure what you're talking about. Okay, so let's go ahead and choose a drum beat, right? Now, these are all audio files, so I don't really need my MIDI tracks right now. So in order to delete a track, you just click on it, press the delete key, and it deletes, right? So I have audio files here. I can create new audio files by pressing Command T, and Shift Command T is for creating MIDI tracks, right? So audio tracks is Command T, and Shift Command T is how I create MIDI tracks. What week class are we in? I've lost track. What the fuck is going on today? I don't know. What are these fucking questions? What week class are we in? I've lost track. We're in week 7. I'm so confused. I don't know what's going on. This is a bumpy start to the fucking YouTube. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and choose some drums. I like that. So this is a loop that I like. Then I'm going to drag this onto one of the clip slots, right? You can see that I can place it anywhere that I want. All right. Now, you can see that as soon as I dragged it onto the clip slot, I have a little play button over here that's going to allow me to trigger the clip. And then if I want to stop it, I can hit the stop buttons over here or the stop button on the track. All right. Let's choose another one. I like that one too. So I'm going to drag this in and put it underneath the first one. So now I got 2 clips on this audio track right over here, right? And both of the clips are drums. So I'm going to rename this track drums. So you just right click, call it drums. All right. Now look. I can play any one of these, but I can only play one at a time. Right? Now here's the thing. Because I have set my global quantization menu, or quantization, global quantization to 1 bar, every time I hit the play button, it will trigger the next clip at the top of the next bar. So watch this. This is a basic 4/4 beat, right? 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Click the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Click 4. 1, 2, right? So no matter what I do, whenever I click it, it's always going to start at the top of the next bar. Very, very convenient because then you can actually get more specific and accurate with your triggers, right? Because if you set it to none, then it might actually throw off the beat in a really weird way. But now that you've already set it to 1 bar, and the fact that each clip is mapping to the project tempo, it'll always be in time and accurately triggered. So that's a really cool thing about Ableton, right? So let's go ahead and play this. And if I want to stop it, I can either stop it on the track, or I could have pressed the stop button over here on any of the empty slots. Doesn't really matter, right? There's also a global stop over here, which stops all clips. And that's for when you have multiple clips on multiple tracks, or clips on multiple tracks, I should say. So we got some drums. Let's choose some bass, right? So all the melodic instruments have scales affiliated with their names. So it says there's a tempo at the top. Then it says it has this capital letter. The capital letter indicates the scale of the melody. Now, this is more music theory, but basically, when you have a song or a section of a song, it's usually in a certain key, right? You guys know what key is, right? So if you have multiple instruments in the same scale, the same key, you can create what's called melodies and harmonies. Okay? So I'm going to choose something, I'm just going to choose something pretty simple. That's too complicated. Boom. Boom. Boom, 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 boom. I like that. So I'm going to drag this onto a new track, right? Because I already have a track for all the drum loops that I'm going to use. I'm going to use a separate track for the bass fills, right? Now this is in D major. You can tell because it says 94, which is the original tempo, capital D for D major, and then fat bass, right? Now, even though it says 94 is the original tempo, it is always going to map to the project tempo. So that means if I play both of these, 3, click, right? They're going to be in sync because they're both mapping to the project tempo. So if I speed it up, this project tempo on the left, right? It's always going to adjust to the project tempo, which is something really cool about Ableton. Next, let's find something else, something in D major. So let's see. I like that. That'll probably work. Let's add another thing. Nah. No, I did that last time, right? Maybe that. All right, so now what you're basically doing is you're building a beat just based on the loops that you have at hand. Now, look, I think Tony is the one who created these loops. Don't quote me on that, but just know that if you have sets of audio loops and that are labeled really well, it's very, very simple to start creating your own thing. But what I'm doing right now is I'm taking different loops from different instruments and placing them on various clip slots, getting the pieces of my song together, right? I'm trying to figure out what goes with what. This drum beat, does it work with this bass? Does the bass work with the Rhodes? Does that work with the synth? And while I'm doing all that, I'm going to rename these tracks at the same time. So this was bass. If you want a shortcut for renaming, you click on whatever you want to rename, press Command R, and it will allow you to rename. Command R is for rename. Let's choose one last instrument. Let's see. No, that's not going to work. Maybe that'll work. Whatever. It's okay. Meh. Nah, too much. Let's leave it at that. So, we have 4 different instruments: drums, bass, Rhodes, synth. I chose a clip from each section and basically placed them on those tracks under the in the clip slots, right? Now you might have noticed that while I was playing it, I was adjusting some stuff down here. Like I said, this is similar to your mix window where you have this little triangle for your fader, right? You have a pan knob left and right for panning left and right. You have a track enable or disable. When it's yellow, it's enabled. When it's not yellow, it's muted, right? Right now the drums are muted, but if I enable them again, right? Then you have a solo button and a record enable button, okay? Now, the other thing that is cool about these tracks, which I kind of mentioned in the beginning, is that you have sends and returns automatically set up to your reverb and delay. So in case you were listening to your Rhodes, I'm just going to solo them. Just hit play. And you say, oh, these are cool, a little dry. You could turn up A to add some reverb. Or some delay. I'm going to take off the delay. Right, so there you go. You got a pretty basic beat going on right now. Now, here's what I'm going to do is I want to make this, if I was to pitch this as a song or a beat for somebody to sing over or just like a kind of layout for somebody to add more stuff onto, I don't think it's enough for me just to play the entire beat, right? I mean, it's cool, but, you know, when we make music, we're trying to tell a story. We're trying to give it like a sense of beginning, middle, and end, right? It has to have like a pull-in, a build, a climax, and an ending, right? We kind of want to have that, or else we're just making melodies and rhythms, and that, you know, it's too generic and boring. And yeah, I think there's enough of that already. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to create different sections of a song. Right now we have the pieces instrumentally for the song, but we don't have the different sections of a song like intro, verse, chorus, outro, or bridge, right? So that's what we're going to do. And we're going to put each section as its own individual row, all right? So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the global stop button over here. So that stops all clips. You might have seen that now the play buttons are not green. So if I hit play, nothing's going to play. So I'm thinking that maybe it should start with, let's see, I'm just going to drag all these down so that, because I want the first row, I just want the first row to be like an intro. So I'm thinking that maybe that's such a cool melody. I think I should save that for the chorus. I think that should be, yeah, that could be on top. So now if I want to copy and paste a clip, I can do that easily by holding Option and clicking and dragging the clip into a new slot. All right. So maybe my intro is just this alone. Maybe with some delay. Right? Maybe that could be the intro. Oh, the ghost. Then maybe something that could add to it is let's see. You know what? Maybe that is my intro. I'll just have this as my intro. So my intro is actually just one instrument, the synth. Then maybe for the quote-unquote verse, I will have drums. So I'm just going to copy that. Bass and the same synth melody, right? Then for the chorus, I can have all four of them. For the bridge, maybe I'll have these two. Or maybe I'll have these three. No, I'll have these two. And then I'll have like a different kind of bridge. Yeah, I'm going to get rid of that drum one. Don't need it. So there you go. I have my top row is my intro. My second row is my verse. I didn't really use the third row, so I'm just going to delete that. My third row is my chorus. My fourth row is my bridge. So now, the reason why I made every row a different section of a song is because every row is actually, or can be triggered by one single play button. So you see that I have 3 clips on the second row. So instead of having to press play on all 3 of them to trigger them, I can trigger them all at the same time by hitting the play button on the scene play button. Right? So these over here, these are called scenes. Scenes are basically an entire row of clips. So a scene allows you to trigger an entire row of clips by using one play button. And you can rename your scenes. Right now, if I click here and press Command R, I can call this intro, right? Verse, chorus. Oh, I didn't do that. Chorus, bridge, or brudge. Let's call it brudge. So this is a really cool way to actually trigger multiple clips at the same time without having to click both of them, or if you don't have like a device to do that, it's a really easy way to do it. All right. Now, last but not least is, since we have our individual pieces and now they're all kind of arranged into their different sections of a song, now it's just a matter of recording the song. Okay? Now, in order to record it, we want to record it onto the arrangement view. And it's very, very easy. You just hit the record button up here, and it will record. Now, I'm going to turn the metronome on, which is right over here. I could click on the pull-down menu if I wanted to change the sound or the count, or make sure that there's a count in. So that means it'll give me 1 bar of count in before it actually starts recording. So it's already set that way, so I don't have to do anything. But I want to make sure the metronome is on so that I stay in time in case that I lose time with some of the sections with no rhythm. Hit record, and then hit the first play button. All right, that's the intro. Hit the play for the next verse. 2, 3, play. And it's recording everything that's going on right now. So you're actually performing the song in a way, right? So if you thought of the song as like pieces of a puzzle with different sections, you're just performing each section as and when it needs to come in, and it's recording that at the same time. It's pretty cool. So you're performing your song in real time, and it's recording it. So we're already at the chorus. Let's go back to verse. 2, 3, click. So you can see everything that I'm doing is being recorded. We want to go back to chorus. So we click on chorus over here. 1, 2, 3, click. chorus. This is the second chorus, so maybe we'll take it to the bridge afterwards. 1, 2, 3, click. Maybe drums. And then maybe we'll stop all of it. 2, 3, 4, stop. 2, 3, chorus. So it's cool that it recorded everything that I just did. And then maybe what we'll do is we'll stop the drums. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom, 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 boom. There you go. So I just hit the stop button. That's what stops everything. But there you go. That's a fucking song right there, or at least a very simple, basic song. And it has like a flow and direction, and it has its ups and downs and peaks and valleys and whatever you want to call it. So there you go. Now, it's in the arrangement view right now, but you see how it's kind of grayed out. And the thing is, if I hit the play button, let me just stop all this. If I hit the play button, you're not going to hear anything, right? Because it's all kind of grayed out. And that's because Ableton chooses to work either from the arrangement view or the session view. It's like one at a time. It needs to know which view you want to be playing at. And right now we have it set to being in the session view because that's where we were playing stuff from. Now, if you want to be able to hear what you actually did, you have to go up to this corner and click on this red box, which basically just allows you to engage the arrangement view. So we click on this, hit play, and this is our song. Exactly how we performed it. Right, you get the idea. So everything that I just did has been recorded. So that's pretty cool. Now, a couple of things, right? Let's say I wanted to edit something in here, like the performance that I did. Maybe I'm like, something was really weird. I want to change it. Well, it's really simple to do. So, for example, every single loop is its own clip, right? Because we played the loops based on these triggers, and that gets recorded as its own separate clip in the arrangement view. So for example, if this first clip I wanted to maybe fade it in, what I can do is, if you go to an audio clip and you go to the very ends, you'll see that these little squares start to show up, right? Now if you click on this top square and drag it in, you'll see that it creates a fade in, which you can also adjust in the middle, which I think is pretty cool. So now our song kind of has a fade in. That was a really bad fade in, but you know what I mean. Maybe a fade out. Oop. I didn't want to. So you might have already seen that you can actually crossfade by clicking on the square of the next clip into the previous clip. Right? That's a crossfade. You guys know that from Pro Tools. You can also edit just like in Pro Tools. Now, if you have a clip and you hover over the name of the clip, there's a bar that signifies the section for the name. You can use that bar as its grabber tool, right? Or rather, when you hover over the bar, your mouse turns into a grabber tool. You can also go to the ends and it changes into a trimmer tool. All right? And now if you want to edit within the actual clip, you have to actually go to the bottom where the waveform is, highlight it, and then either delete or press Command E to cut and move stuff around. Right? So maybe we'll cut it off right there. I can go in and make a basic edit pass, really. Maybe we'll get rid of maybe these. Maybe we'll get rid of that too. Nah, should have kept that. Right, you can go over it and give it a basic edit pass, right? This is basically what I'm doing right here. Right, and it looks like I already made the break over here. So maybe I want to change this. So I'm going to get rid of these, and I just want this one to repeat. So if I click here, press Command E, it cuts it into its own clip, and just like Pro Tools, Command D will duplicate it. All right, there you go. So there you go. You have a song right there. Now, this isn't the last step of the assignment. The actual last step of the assignment is coming up. Now that you have multiple tracks, right? I guess I didn't use this. Now that you have multiple tracks for drums, bass, Rhodes, and synth, the same applies in the arrangement view. All the drums up here, all the edited drums, bass, synth, Rhodes, everything has its own dedicated track, which is perfect because now you can start mixing or doing like a rough mix or adding your own effects. So you can do that in the arrangement view or the session view. It doesn't really matter. But if you want to add some type of plugin to your track, you click on the track, let's say drums, go to your audio effects and go to, I'm going to start with EQ, double click on EQ8, and there you go. So now I'm going to go find where the drums are and then play. So it looks like the drums already have a lot of Let's get rid of some of that bass. This is going to be all bass guitar. Maybe add a compressor. So let's say dynamics, compressor. This is all like stock, what's it called? Ableton stuff. Now you can, if you have your own plugins, you can go to the plugin library, add them there, and get your own stuff going. So let's do this FabFilter, 25 milliseconds for nice attack. Okay. So now if you want to bypass any of the plugins, you see that each plugin shows up at the bottom over here, and there's a yellow dot in a yellow dot implying that it is engaged. So if I turn it off, then the plugins are bypassed. Right? Let's say I wanted to add something for the bass now. Let's add EQ. I'm just going to stick to these, actually. Come on. Let's actually go back to bass and add a compressor. Nice. Good enough, right? Rhodes, let's add some character to it by putting a drive on it, maybe. Dynamic tube. Let's find a section with the Rhodes. Let's add some kind of flanger to it. EQ. Don't need any of that low end. Maybe compress it because it's a little kind of crazy right now. Now, the only thing I want to change about this is that I sent it to a reverb and a delay, and the delay plugin, if you go to the delay track, the delay plugin is set to third notes, which is kind of weird. That's way better. Right, and there you go. Actually, I didn't save this project, so I'm going to do that. Ableton intro overview. Okay, so there you go. That's basically the first assignment, which is you go download the loops, create your own, like choose the different loops and the pieces of the song that you want to create. Create your different sections by using scenes, and then add plugins to create some. Oh wait, first record it into the arrangement view by performing the song, having it start with an intro, verse, chorus, bridge, and then adding plugins to make it sound good. Now the plugin stuff you're gonna have to experiment with a little bit. Hey dude, link is in the chat. We're on YouTube. So plugin stuff, kind of the same deal, is you want to make sure that everything has its own space. I would say experiment with some of the cooler plugins in Ableton, like the flangers and the saturators and stuff. There's some cool stuff in there. But that's basically the first thing you have to do in this assignment. So now that that's done with, what I want to kind of go over is every single one of these clips, right? You can actually view the clip at the bottom over here if you go into clip view. Now the shortcut to do that is Shift Tab, right? Shift Tab allows you to see what's going on specifically in these clips, right? Now there's a couple of things that you can do. For example, if we just focus on the drums real quick, you can see that there's a clip gain, right? And there's a pitch knob. Actually, let me go ahead and stop this, and I'm going to play this drum. So that's something to figure out. When I'm looking at this clip view at the bottom is different from this clip view over here, because this clip view is for the clip in the arrangement view. So check this out. So if I'm in the arrangement view and I've highlighted a clip and I see it at the bottom in the clip view, and I say, okay, this clip right here, which comes in with the beat, I want to have it softer. All right, so when I hit play, it's fairly soft until it gets to the next clip. It gets louder. But if I keep this clip soft here, notice that when I go back to the session view and I double click on this clip has not changed in volume at all. This is the original volume of the clip. So just be careful. The clip view at the bottom refers to the clip that you have highlighted currently, whether you're in the session view or the arrangement view. Those are two different clips. Very, very important to remember. Like, you might be making all kinds of adjustments here, like, and then you go back to the arrangement view and you're like, oh shit, I want to hear my cool thing. And then you're like, wait a second, that's not what I did. It's because it's two different clips that they're referring to, right? So, but in either the session view or the arrangement view, you can go into the clip view to modify your clip in certain ways. Now, obviously, the most common way of using it is for clip gain, right? Turning it up, turning it down. Pitching. So if I play, that's pretty dope. Right? That's pretty cool. In fact, what I might do is I'll go to that bridge section over here. Here. This clip over here specifically, I'm going to highlight and have it show up at the bottom, and I'm going to pitch this. Yes. Hell yeah. So you can actually go in and individually change these clips to sound however you want them to. So I could go here and maybe change this to a lower volume. But I wouldn't recommend that. There's an automation way to do that, which is a bit better. Now, a couple of things you might notice, right, is in the clip view, if we just take any random clip, you'll see that there's gain, there's pitch, but there's also this thing called warp. Now, this is actually what allows Ableton to tempo shift clips really, really quickly. So by default, they're usually already set to warp. If you don't turn them to warp, they will play at their original tempo. So you hear that that's wrong, right? If it's not warped, it won't map to the project tempo. So always be careful about that. The other thing that you might see, which is important, is that you can set this thing called loop up. Now, we kind of went over this yesterday, but if you have a perfect loop, you can start to create Oh boy, I think I fucked it up. Right. So if you have a perfect loop, so like this, for example, if you look at the clip view, it is a perfect 4 bars, like 1, 2, 3, 4, right? If you have perfect 4 bars, then you can start messing around with using the loop mode. So I'm just going to drag this out real quick. So this is 4 bars, bar 5 to bar 9. Three, 4. Now, if I wanted this to loop, I could either press Command D, or if I have loop enabled over here, I can just drag it out and it will continue to loop on its own. All right. Kind of went over that the other day. Let's move on to some other cool stuff. Now, the stuff you see over here has more to do with warping, which I don't want to get into this week because I think already we're kind of like going over a lot of shit. Gonna have fun with this. Dope, man. So now, the next thing that we could do if we wanted to, after we've EQ'd it, added all kinds of stuff, is we could start to add our own stuff. Now, like I said, you can use Ableton, like your what's it called, Logic and Pro Tools and all that stuff, but the best way to use it, in my opinion, is to use the session view. Now, what I showed you in the first class was recording loops down here, or recording your own MIDI and vocals down here. You can do the same in the session view and record your own clips. Right now, all these clips that we have over here, these were created by somebody else, right? And we kind of drag them and use the pieces to kind of make our own thing. But you can make your own loops if you want to, and use that to trigger your loops. Use the session view to trigger your loops. So let's take a really quick example. I'm going to make a new MIDI track. Shift Command T enables you to create a new MIDI track. If I want to load my own virtual instrument onto this track, I go to Instruments. I go to Sounds, and you have a bunch of different instruments over here. So let's see. What if we did pad? Right. You can see that they're .adv or ADG files, which are essentially virtual instruments that you can load into your MIDI tracks. But when you click on any one of them, it plays you a sample of what the instrument sounds like. By default, they play the C3 note. Let's do that. So I like this. Double click, and that loads onto the MIDI track. All right, we'll call this pads. So if I record enable and press a key, all right. So what I can do now is, I'm actually going to not use the arrangement view for a second. I'm just going to play the chorus. Ugh. All right, so let's just record that. So I want to make my own loop. Now you might have noticed that as soon as I hit record enable, these little squares over here, they turn into circles. Circles indicating that they can be record enabled. As soon as I hit this circle, it's going to give me a 1 bar count because that's how we've set the metronome up. It's going to give me a 1 bar count and then lead into my recording. So I'm going to record a clip of my own right now. So there you go. Now, if I click on this, double click on it, you can see that the piano roll shows up at the bottom, right? 1 second. So with the piano roll at the bottom is where you can start to make changes to the thing that you played, right? So if you played... MIDI, you can see it right there. Hey guys, link is in the chat. We're on YouTube. So you can see that whatever I played has shown up on the piano roll over here. So this is where you can change the notes of whatever you played.
Hey G, can you drop that one more time in the chat?
You can see the stuff that you played here, but you can also start to edit the duration of the notes, right, by extending them or reducing them. You can also change the velocity of them as well here at the bottom. Yeah?
The chat is blank for me right now.
Oh, here, can you see this? Hold on, let me figure out what's going on. There you go. Hopefully you got it. So... this is what I played. This is just like your MIDI piano roll in Pro Tools. Now, what you want to do is, if you're not a good piano player or just not a good person in general, you might want to quantize it. So, like me, this is kind of off. You can see that certain notes I played early, certain notes I played late, just based on the grid. You can see that. So if I press Command A, it selects all the notes that I played. And then if I press Shift Command U, it opens up the quantization menu, right? So with the quantization menu, I can decide which division I want to quantize to. And then if I hit OK, now what I might do is I might not do that because this particular instrument has a slow attack, so it takes time to actually build up. And if I quantize it, it's going to make it sound like it's coming in late all the time. So I'm not going to quantize it. But what I will do is this little legato button here. I kind of already explained this, but if you click on it, it extends all the notes until the next note. So for example, if my notes were like this instead, and I hit legato, they extend until the next note. So it kind of gives it a much more fluid motion from one note to another. Now, the one thing that's kind of not great about what I played is that it extends into the 9th bar. Remember, you want to make loops that are either 4 bars or 8 bars, just to keep things a little bit more simple. Now, if you know music theory and you know how to make beats and you know how to do all that stuff, go crazy. Create loops of 3, 7, 15, whatever you want. But if you're very new to this and you want to get a basic handle of how to make beats and music on your own, I would start with either bars of 2, 4, or 8. So right now you can see I go from bar 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way to 9, and it extends into the 9th bar, which is not good. So I'm going to get rid of that last note. I'm going to drag the loop brace. So the loop brace is basically what tells Ableton what do you want to loop over and over again. And the start and end flags, which are the flags at the bottom, tell Ableton, okay, where does the clip start? Where does it end? Right? So I'm going to move both of them to the end of bar 8. So now we're at 8 bars, right? Just by moving these two to the end of the 8th bar, we're at 8 bars now. So now this clip over here will loop every 8 bars. And I can also make sure of that because the loop function is on and I have perfect 8 bars. So if I hit play, so maybe that's not what I played. So you saw that as soon as it got done with this, it looped back to the beginning. Now me personally, I don't like to see this empty space here, so I just right click and crop the clip, and it'll crop to wherever the start and end markers are, right, which is at the 8 bar point. So there you go. Now I'm not a big fan of this pad anymore, so I might change the instrument. So maybe if I use this, if I double click it, it loads the pad onto the track. All right. So there you go. You can add your own loop. And again, if you want to change it in some way, and you're like, you know what, I only want to use the second half, it'll only play the second half. And it'll loop that over and over again. It all depends on where you put your loop brace, really. Now the same thing goes with audio. So if you wanted to, say, press Command T and add your own vocals to it, then you can go ahead and do that. Now, for vocals, you have to have a microphone set up to an interface, and then you go into your track, your audio track, let's call it vocals, and the audio from needs to be set to the correct input. Now, it's set to the external device, which is my interface, right? But the input needs to be set to input 3 because that's where my microphone is going to. Next, we do our usual record enable, and you see that my microphone is being picked up over here. Now, right now, I'm listening to the direct monitor, which means much better. Oh, the instrument? Yeah, I agree. That other pad was too much. So right now, my voice, you're listening to my voice through the UAD console. So if I was to like add reverb to my voice, which I think is on aux 1. Hello. Right. So this is all through the console of UAD. But I want to actually use Ableton right now and listen through Ableton just for fun. So I'm going to mute myself here and then press the auto over here. Auto or in, right? In is like input monitor in Pro Tools. Auto is like just plain old record enable in Pro Tools. So in this particular case, I'm listening to my voice through Ableton. So there might be a slight, like ever so slight delay. And we kind of already went over what latency might be for a 128 sample. Yeah, it's like 12 milliseconds. So it's like, I can live with that. It's not great. Under 10 is always good, but 12, I can get away with it. 15 is like might be too much. So now that we have my voice and that we're in Ableton, I can just turn up this little A send to get some reverb going. I can also turn up the delay and get some delay. Right, if I wanted to. Now, I can record my own clip just like I did with my MIDI over here. So let's figure out what I want to do. let's do something simple like that. So we'll go ahead and hit record. Da. Nice little bend at the end. Right? So, let me, all right, so now we're back listening to me directly through the UAD console, and I'm going to turn off record enable. But essentially what I did was I recorded my own loop over here, right? Now you can see that I have a perfect 8 bars because the loop and the end flag end at the very last part of the 8 bar, right? When you have your flags going all the way to the top of the 9th bar, that means it's a perfect 8 bar. It sounded a little confusing, but basically what I'm trying to say is that you want to make sure it's a perfect 4 or 8 bar, and you can tell if it's a perfect 8 bar if it ends at the top of the 9th bar. All right? Because each... yeah, no, let me not go further. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and crop the sample by just right-clicking. And here you go. This is my little vocal performance over here, right? Now, I can't really edit anything in here. Like if I try to delete something, it's not going to work. If I try to fade in or fade out or cut it, it's not going to work. That's where the arrangement view comes into play and other ways of doing it. But for now, I'm just going to use this as a loop that I can constantly play over and over and over again, right? Now, something that I can do is I can change the clip gain and the pitch if I wanted to, right? But there you go. You have a loop that you can actually add to your song. So if you had your song already written up in the arrangement view and you're like, you know what? I would have loved to add this in the second chorus. Well, it's really easy. You just hit record. And it'll start recording. So let me do that again. I'm going to hit the play on the vocals. I did it too late because I think I messed up something. Okay, there it is. So let's record. I want to start the vocals. I want to start the vocals only when it hits the next chorus, which is right over here, right? So let's go ahead and hit record. And when this comes in, I want to hit play on the vocals. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, click. Right? So there you go. Now you can start layering on top of your arrangement view if you wanted to, right? You just have to hit record and then trigger whatever you want. All right, this obviously started late. All right, so you get the idea. Whenever you want to, you can create your own loops in here. You can trigger them as and when you want them, or you can just record them directly to the arrangement view. And that's what I did last time, right? I just recorded them directly here. And if you don't remember, you just basically do exactly what we just did. So record enable, ooh, and then just record. and it records exactly like Pro Tools. But you guys already know how to do that, right? Now I wonder why it actually recorded automation, because I told it not to. I told it not to record automation, but it recorded automation. Why would it record automation? I don't understand. Huh. All right. Let's see. So that's kind of your basic overview, and that's the first assignment, essentially. I wouldn't say that this is like a complete intro to Ableton, because that was the first video that we did on Monday. I went into much more detail about the specifics of all the buttons and all the knobs and stuff like that. But in terms of the first assignment and how to apply everything we did from Monday to the assignment due on Sunday, this should be fairly clear as to how to do that. Now, you don't have to add MIDI and vocals. Those are the next two assignments. But I'm saying that if you can understand the first part of dragging clips onto various tracks, creating different sections of a song using scenes, recording and triggering them as and when they need to be triggered, basically performing your song, and then applying your EQs, your compressors, and all the stuff that you already know from Pro Tools, that's the first assignment. And if you make something completely amazing and fire, as you guys say, you can start adding stuff like MIDI, you can start adding your own vocals, you can start adding whatever it is, right? So anyway, that's the fun stuff. Let's take it back to Zoom and we'll go over other stuff.